Welcome to the lecture of Renewable Energy System. In today's lecture, we will discuss about the power generation from the solar thermal power plant. Photovoltaics is only one of many technologies for utilizing solar energy. Many other methods can make use of solar energy to produce heat, electricity, lights, and even cooling. Some techniques have been used by humans since ancient times. For instance, the sun baked brick into strong building materials and dried food for preservation. The modern world has built on these technologies to utilize this abundant resource in more efficient and direct way. Sunlight can be concentrated with mirrors or lenses. Today, solar thermal technology produces temperatures high enough to drive a thermal process. Three major solar thermal technologies have been developed. Each is characterized by the shape of mirror surface. The systems are parabolic trough system, central receiver system, parabolic dish system. All solar thermal power technologies rely on four basic systems, that is collector, receiver, transport, which means storage, and power conversion system. Most solar energy technology involves special equipment that is added to or incorporated into a structure to collect, convert, and distribute the energy gained from the sun. A solar energy collector is a device designed to absorb solar radiation and convert it to the another form, usually heat or electricity. The concentrated energy is then received on the energy receiver system. There it is directly converting into electrical energy in some method, or it is stored first and then transmitted toward to power conversion system. Solar thermal generation systems are quite often combined with other sources of power generation to improve the overall efficiency. In solar thermal power plants, concentrating collectors are used to prepare high temperature heat for the power plant block. This can supplement or completely replace fossil fuels operation. Optical systems only concentrate direct solar radiation and have to track the sun in order to achieve a sufficient concentration. This technology is particularly used in large central plants around the Earth-Sun belt. The sunlight is concentrated by mirrors that bundle the light onto a heat exchanger, which transfer the absorbed energy to a heat transfer fluid. A whole range of different concepts are currently available where the heat transfer medium is either directly used in the power plant circuit, for example water vapors, or is first of all circulated in the secondary circuit, for example thermal oil. About 2.5 gigawatt of solar thermal capacity is currently in operation and about 1.5 gigawatt is currently under construction. Further markets are currently developing, particularly in the Middle East, Africa, India, and China. Solar thermal power plants are also playing an important role as part of desert tech concept. Here it is emphasized that by 2050, an integrated European North African electricity network will provide substantial economic and social economic benefit as compared to a separate supply structure, and will also contribute to cost-effective and sustainable electricity supply to Europe and Germany. Solar thermal power plants can be distinguished according to the arrangement of their concentrator mirrors, that is line focus system such as parabolic trough or linear Fresnel system have to track the sun along a single axis in order to focus the sun rays onto an absorber tube. In practice, it is possible to concentrate the sunlight by about 100 times. Point focus systems such as tower power plant use a large number of individually tracking helostat in order to focus the sunlight onto a single receiver on the top of a central tower. These can concentrate the incident radiation from the sun by more than 1000 times. However, to achieve this, they require dual-axis tracking for the mirror. According to the law of thermodynamics, the higher the temperature at which the collected heat is provided, the more effectively it can be transformed into mechanical work. On the other hand, the efficiency of receiver sinks with increasing temperature owing to the greater heat losses. This is why every system has an optimum operating temperature at which the most favorable ratio of solar radiation to emission is achieved. With increasing concentration, greater efficiencies are achieved with greater optimum operating point. Solar thermal power plants have the major advantage that they can integrate thermal energy storage systems. For example, storage tank with hot or molten salt, which enable the plants to continue operating when cloud draw across or after sunset. In addition, fossil fuel can also be used. This therefore enables the electricity generation to be adapted to various needs. In contrast to other renewable energy systems, they deploy electrical energy storage systems. Solar thermal power plants will, with energy storage system can produce even cheaper electricity than systems without storage. This becomes evident when comparing, for example, a 1000 megawatt solar thermal power plant without a storage system with a 50 megawatt system with the same sized solar field and the thermal storage tank at a good location. The 100 megawatt turbine will be used for about 2000 full load hour per year, whereas the 50 megawatt turbine achieves 4000 full load hour through using the storage tank. Both plants produce the same amount of electricity per year. If the storage tank is correspondingly cheap, the 50 megawatt plant incurs fewer investment costs owing to its smaller power plant block. Furthermore, the plant can also supply the electricity more flexibly in terms of time. At the moment, the collected thermal energy is predominantly transformed into electricity in steam power plants. These are suitable for capacity size from 10 megawatt upward and for temperature of up to about 600 degrees Celsius, and can be coupled with parabolic trough, linear Fresnel, and solar tower system. Starling engines are suitable for smaller capacity up to several tens of kilowatt, which are typically for dish concentrator. Gas turbines are available in a broad capacity range and are also capable of exploiting considerably higher temperature up to 1200 centigrade. With larger capacity, they can be coupled with steam process to form so-called combined cycle power plant, and due to their high efficiency generates the same output with a 25% smaller collector surface area than conventional steam power plant. However, until now gas turbines have only been operated with solar energy in experimental systems. As with all steam power plants, solar thermal power plants with steam circuit require water for the operation, mainly for efficiently cooling the circuit. Since water is scarce commodity in the region where the technology is deployed, the consumption can be reduced from about 3.6 to 0.25 liter per kilowatt hour if the ambient air is used for cooling. However, this increases the investment cost and lower the efficiency of the plant, which means that the electricity generation cost increased by about 3 to 7.5%. As an alternative, seawater cooling or the operation of seawater desalination plant is possible for a plant near the ocean. In the last 5 years, the electricity generation cost for solar thermal power plant have fallen by about one third to around 14 to 18 euro cent per kilowatt hour. And according to the European Industry Association, have the potential to undercut the 10 euro cent mark during the next 10 years. Compared with fluctuating electricity from wind and PV system, the added value for the improved supply security for the grid operation achieved through energy storage system currently amount to 3 euro cent per kilowatt hour in some networks. This value will continue to increase in future along with the greater proportion of fluctuating energy in the grid. The three main drivers lowering cost are the upscaling to large unit, mass production of component, and technological innovation. The latter are aimed at increasing the efficiency of power plants with greater operating temperature, optimizing the optical design, as well as lowering the component cost, the need for the water and self-consumption of electricity. Parabolic trough collectors are assembled from three main functional units: the concentrator, a mirrored trough with a parabolic shaped cross section, uses a tracking device to track the course of the sun so that the incident radiation is concentrated along the focal line on the absorber tube or receiver tube. The collectors are normally aligned in north-south orientation so that shortly after sunrise, the light from the low-lying sun in the east is almost vertically incident on the parabolic opening, the so-called aperture. During the course of the day, the sun moves southward and its light falls at an increasingly oblique angle on the collector. The sun rays continue to focus through the tracking parabolic aperture onto the observer tube but are reflected back across a longer distance. The inclined incident sunlight causes the radiation energy captured per unit area to be correspondingly reduced relative to the cosine of the incident angle. In addition, the inclined reflected sun ray on the north end of the collector miss the observer tube. This is known as end loss. In order to reduce the relative proportion of these end losses, the parabolic troughs are constructed to be as long as possible. Because the solar radiation during the morning and evening is weakened relatively to midday as a result of the longer path through the atmosphere. On a cloudless day, the usable energy per collector surface is fairly evenly spread across the day. The most important property for an efficient concentrator are a highly specular reflectance for light of all wavelengths in the solar spectrum, as well as the precise parabolic shape. Specular reflectance means that as many rays as possible are reflected according to the angle angle of incident equal the angle of reflection law, and as few rays as possible are absorbed or scattered. Deviation in the parabolic shape causes the radiation to miss the absorber tube. Only radiation that is vertically incident to the optical axis is concentrated on the focal point. This is why the concentrator has to continuously track the path of the sun. Hydraulic drive systems are predominantly used for this purpose. Smaller collectors also use electrical motors. The drive systems are controlled either with sensors that determine the position of the collectors relative to the sun elevation or by numerically calculating the sun elevation and the position sensor for the collectors or by using a combination of both. In the absorber tube, the concentrated solar radiation is transformed into heat and transfer to the heat transfer medium flowing inside. The steel tube is coated with an optically selected coating that maintains high absorbance in the solar spectrum wavelength range but high reflectance in the infrared spectrum. That is, it emits as little as possible. These days, absorption rate of 96% and emission rate of just 9% are achieved. In order to prevent heat losses to the ambient air, the absorber tube is surrounded by an evacuated glass envelope tube. The different heat expansion in the glass and metal tube during operation with temperature of up to 500 degree is balanced out using metal below at the tube end. Low iron glass and anti-reflective coating ensure that the concentrated radiation can penetrate through the glass tube and strike the absorber coating with as little loss as possible, whereby 96% transmission rate are achieved. Parabolic trough collectors have a modular structure. The concentrator collectors are mounted in row on supporting pylons and are connected with one another so that they are torsionally stiff. Since the captured power is proportional to the concentrator surface area, the collector structure is aimed at using a few components as possible, which include drive system, movable tube connection on the collector ends, and absorber tubes. An extension of collector length increases the surface area per drive system but requires torsionally stiff structure to transfer the superimposed weight and wind forces from the module to the drive unit without causing performance reducing deformation to the concentrator. Increasing the aperture width enable the number of absorber tube per unit area to be reduced. However, as the surface area increases, so does the wind load, which needs to be taken into account when designing the structure. In addition to previously mentioned optimization of the collector system, further potential is provided by transforming the heat collected in the collector array into electricity as efficiently as possible through increasing the upper process temperature for the conversion process. Since the operating temperature of the predominantly used thermal oil is limited to just under 400 degrees Celsius, for thermal stability reasons, other heat transfer media are being investigated for their suitability. The most progress has been made with development concerned with the use of direct stream generation in the collector arrays and molten salt as the heat transfer medium. Both have specific advantages and challenges. Direct stream generation enables not only the process temperature to be optimized, but also save on all components in the thermal oil circuit, including the associated cost and efficiency loss. The technological challenges here is that the entire tube system needs to be designed for the high pressure of about 100 bar that are desired for turbine operation. The two-phase flow also presents particular challenges in terms of controllability and thermomechanical load. The heat injection first of all creates small steam bubbles that collect to form larger bubbles above the liquid phase. As a result of larger specific volume of the steam, the expanding steam bubbles accelerate to form so-called water slug because the heat transfer between the tube wall and the steam phase is considerably worse than between the tube wall and the fluid The tube temperature increases after this so-called dry out point. This can cause considerable thermal stress to the tube, since the dry out point can very rapidly shift with fluctuating solar radiation. The temperature distribution in the tube cross section can occur in the morning or evening. There is a clear temperature difference between the outer heated and inner unwetted tube surface and the unheated moisture section opposite. In order to utilize the advantage of the direct steam generation and simultaneously avoid the risk caused by undesired operating conditions, various process concepts have been developed. A feature of the force runs through process is its simple structure. The water fed into the collector string is preheated, completely evaporated, and then superheated in one passage. With the recirculation concept, rather than evaporating the entire injected water, a water steam mixture is fed into a pressure vessel and separately there by means of gravity. This concept is very robust but incur higher cost as a result of the necessary pressure vessel, the circulation pump, and the losses in the recirculation system. Because cheap steam storage systems are not yet available, solar direct steam generation is initially more suitable for smaller systems or hybrid power plants that combine solar and fossil energy. The ability to adapt the steam condition to the respective feed-in point enable the proportion of solar energy to be increased when integrated with combined cycle power plant. Concepts are also being developed for saving fuel and correspondingly avoiding CO2 emission in coal-fired power plant by integrating solar steam generation. Molten salt has already proved itself as a storage medium onto a commercial scale. The use of similar salt as a heat transfer medium not only lead to considerable saving in the plant technology but also allows the operating temperature to be increased relative to thermal oil. This enables greater process efficiency and higher storage capacity for the same storage volume. The most commonly used salt is a mixture of sodium and potassium nitrate. It has a melting point of 238 degrees. In periods without irradiation, special precautions are therefore necessary in order to prevent the salt from freezing. The simplest measure is to permanently recirculate warm salt in order to keep the plant at the right temperature. This ensures correspondingly heat loss. For this reason, research is being conducted on developing salt mixture with melting point that are as low as possible. Here it is also needed to be ensured that these mixtures remain stable at high temperature, are not corrosive, and are cheap. Nitrate salt mixture with three or more components look highly promising. Chloride mixture are also being investigated, but these implicate increased corrosion problem. An alternative parabolic trough technology is provided by Fresnel system, which currently operates with a worldwide capacity of about 45.5 megawatt. The production costs are less than for parabolic trough. The weaker concentration of the solar radiation means that Fresnel collectors have higher optical losses, which reduce the efficiency. The Fresnel collectors are linear concentrating system with a receiver which, in contrast to parabolic trough plant, do not track the sun. Instead, the near ground mirror segments the primary mirrors tilt about their north-south axis during the course of the day and concentrate the solar radiation onto the receiver fixed above them. Depending on the design, the primary mirrors are flat or slightly curved and precisely track the sun using a motor or cable drive. Glass mirrors are normally used as the mirror material. They are fixed to the metal structure. The receiver is situated along the focal line and often consists of a metal tube that extends along the entire collector string. The tube is coated with a selective observer coating to keep the conversion losses as low as possible. A secondary reflector is fixed above the observer tube. It reflects back the radiation that does not directly strike the observer. To minimize the absorber heat losses, the receiver is typically enclosed with the glass pan beneath the observer so that the radiation from the primary mirrors can pass through unhindered while enabling the observer to be protected from wind influence. Solar tower power plants belongs to the point focus system. A feature of this system is that the direct solar radiation is concentrated on a single spot, the focal point. Considerably higher concentration factor can be achieved than with the line focus system, which means that the optimum operating temperature in the receiver can also be increased. This enables power plant process to be coupled with better process parameter and thus greater efficiency. This in turn leads to higher overall efficiency when transforming solar radiation into electricity, resulting in potentially lower electricity generation cost. In solar tower power plants, numerous dual-axis tracking concentrator mirrors the helostat reflects sunlight onto the top of a tower. This is where a central receiver is located that absorbs the concentrated solar radiation and convert it into the high temperature heat. The heat transfer medium removes the heat and transfer it directly to the power plant process or to a storage system. In solar tower system, the radiation is concentrated by 500 to 1000 times, which enable receiver temperature of up to 1200 centigrade to be achieved. Solar tower power plant differ in terms of the type of heat transfer medium, the receiver and the power plant process. Depending on the requirement, thermal storage systems are integrated into the power plant in order to adapt the electricity generation to the current electricity need. By installing an auxiliary burner, the power plant can also be operated if necessary without solar thermal heat, which dispense with the need to maintain expensive reserve capacity in the electricity grid. The direct solar radiation is concentrated using many halostats, which mostly have a slightly curved glass surface. Using a dual-axis drive operated by an array control system, this surface tracks the sun so that the reflected solar radiation is concentrated on the receiver. Currently, helostats are between 1 and 140 meters square in size. In order to achieve the desired radiation concentration, helostat requires mirror surface with a high optical quality and precise tracking. Helostats use rotatory or linear electrical drive to track the sun. Several new developments use hydraulic actuators. System deviation in the tracking moment can be minimized using suitable calibration method. Current helostats are controlled and supplied with energy for the tracking via cables. New developments are moving toward using radio controlled helostat with local energy supplied via the small PV module. At the moment, water, steam, liquid salt, and air are principally used as the heat transfer medium, whereas steam can be directly used in a steam turbine process for generating electricity. With liquid salt and air, the heat is transferred to the power plant process via heat exchanger. The use of liquid metals or ceramic particles is currently being investigated for achieving higher temperature as part of innovative solar tower concept. The receiver transform the highly concentrated solar radiation into high temperature heat and transfer this to the heat transfer medium. The type of receiver substantially depend on the selected heat transfer medium. In tube receiver, the medium flow directly through radiated black coated absorber tube made of high temperature metal alloy. To achieve the required output up to several hundred megawatt per receiver, many parallel tubes are compiled and connected together to form panels similar to the boiler in fossil fuel steam generator. The air volumetric absorber are developed that absorb the radiation in the volume of a highly porous ceramic structure and thus heat the air flowing through it. For example, the Julius Solar Demonstration Power Plant deploy parallel channel monolithic made of silicon carbide that use the absorbed solar radiation to heat the air to 680 degrees Celsius. Thermal storage system can absorb the collected solar heat and release it at a later time to the power plant process largely without losses. The type of storage system depends on the heat transfer medium used. For steam systems, steam storage systems are available which owing to their limited storage duration are generally used to balance out interruption caused by passing cloud. Storage systems for steam systems with longer storage duration are still undergoing development, whereby a combination of sensible and latent storage is favored. Two tank systems are currently being used for liquid salt, which is heated by the solar energy to 565 centigrade, collected in a hot storage tank, and from there pumped to the power plant process for generating electricity. The liquid salt that is cooled to 290 degrees Celsius in this process is collected in a second salt tank, and if enough solar energy is available, is heated up again to 565 degrees Celsius in the receiver. For air systems, so-called regenerator storage systems are deployed that mostly use ceramic storage elements in the form of packed bed. To charge a system, air flows through the packed bed from top to bottom, whereby the heat is transferred from the air to the storage medium. To discharge a system, air flows through the storage system in the opposite direction and is correspondingly heat up. Dish concentrating solar thermal power plants have an individual receiver, engine and generator positioned permanently at the focus of each paraboloid mirror, as shown in this figure. As with power towers, receiver temperature can be very high, above 1000 degrees Celsius. The engine is usually a Stirling engine, since this can be powered from an external heat source and is in principle simple and efficient. Overall efficiency is likely to be definitely better than line concentrator and in practice better than power tower. However, the heavy machinery has to be suspended at the focus of each mirror, so requiring a strong and expensive dynamic structure. It is advantageous in some respect that each dish system is independent, so the system is modular, yet the many relative small coupled engines and generators needed for the utility scale plant demand significant maintenance. In today's lecture, we have discussed about the different technology of solar thermal power plant. Today's lecture end here. Thank you for listening.